Welcome to My Code Tutorials YouTube channel. In this video, we will see how we can create a simple calculator using the C programming language. Now, when we finish this program and when we run this, it will ask us to enter the first number. Here, I will enter a number, and then when I hit the enter button, it will ask us to enter the operator. We can enter plus, minus, multiplication or division. I will enter the division operator. And then it will ask for the second number, and here I'm going to enter this number, and when I hit the enter button, it will display the result like this. So let us see how we can build this program using the C programming language. Okay, now here what I have done is I have included the stdio.h header file to this program so that we can use the functions like printf and scanf. And then we have the main function, which is the entry point of our program from our perspective. Now the first thing that we do is we will define the variables that we need. In this program, we need the variables for storing the two numbers that the user is going to enter. And then we need a variable for storing the operator that the user will enter. So here, for storing the numbers, I will take double data type, and I will call these variables as num1 and num2, and then we will create the variable for storing the operator. It will be of type char, and here I will say operator. Okay, now the next thing that we will do is we will take the user input for num1 operator and num2. So here I will use the printf function, and in this printf function I will display the message as enter the first number. And after seeing this message, the user will enter a number. We will read that using the scanf function. Here, since we are reading a value of type double, we use the format specifier %lf, and then we have to provide the address of the variable where we want to store this value. This value that we are reading for the first number will be stored in this num1 variable, and that's why I will specify num1 here. In order to get the variable's address, we use the ampersand symbol, also called as the address of operator. Now the next thing that we do is we will ask the user to enter the operator. So here I will use the printf again, and this time I will say enter the operator, and I will display these options: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Now the user has to enter a single character, and then we will use the scanf function, and we will read the user input. So since we are reading a single character, we use the format specifier %c, and before this %c, I will include a space. Now here, this space will consume any extra characters that are present in the input buffer when we provide the value for this first number. Now, if you don't know why we have to use this space, I want you guys to remove this space and then run your program. You will come to know. Now, the next thing that we do is we will store the character read in this operator variable. So it will be address of this operator variable. Now we will ask the user to enter the second number. So it will be printf function, and here I will say enter the second number, and then we will use the scanf function, and here we will read a number of type double. So the format specifier will be %lf, and then we will provide the address of this num2 variable. Now we have the two numbers and the operator received from the user. The next thing that we do is we will perform the operation depending on the user's choice, and we will display the result. Now we have to write the instructions for addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division operation. Now depending on the user's choice, we have to execute a particular type of operation when we run the program. For that, we will use the switch statement. So it will be switch, and here in this expression part, we will have the operator, and then inside this switch statement, we will have the cases for addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. So here I will have the case for the addition operation. If the user has entered the operator plus, then what we want to do? Here we will perform the addition operation and we will display the result. Here I will use the printf function, and in this printf function I will say result equal to %lf, and here we will display the result with the 2 decimal places. So I will write .2lf, and here we have to provide the result of num1 plus num2. So here we will perform num1 plus num2. Okay, and after that we will have the break statement, so that after executing this particular statement we will come out of the switch statement. If you don't use the break, it will execute the statements present in the other cases. Now similarly we will perform the operation for subtraction and multiplication. So I will copy this and I will paste it here. I will change the operator to subtraction, and then here we will perform num1 minus num2, and then I will paste it one more time, and this time it will be for multiplication, and here we will perform num1 multiplied by num2. Now finally we have to write the code for the division operation. So it will be case, and here we will have the division operator, and while performing the division operation we have to make sure that we don't perform divide by 0. For example, when we write num1 divided by num2, if the user is going to enter 0 for num2, at that time it will be divide by 0. So here when performing the division operation we will check whether the user has entered 0 for num2. If the user has entered 0 for num2, then we will display a message stating that divide by 0 situation, we can't perform the operation. So for that we will use the if conditional statement here, and we will write if num2 is equal to 0. In that case we will use the printf statement in here, and we will say error division by 0 is not allowed, and then we will have the else block. Now if we come to this else part, it means that num2 variable is not containing 0. So we will perform the division operation and we will display the result. So I will copy and paste this printf statement, and here we will perform num1 divided by num2. Okay, now after this we will have the break statement. Remember, we will have the break statement outside this if and else. Now finally we will have a default case. So this default case is executed if the user has entered a character for the operator variable which is not plus, minus, multiplication or division. For example, if the user enters @ symbol or hash symbol, then none of the case values match, and that's why we will have the default block in here and we will display a simple message. So here I will use the printf statement. I will display this message stating error invalid operator. Now in this default block we don't have to use the break statement since it is the last statement present in this switch. So now what we do is we will save this program and we will run this. Now it will say enter the first number. I will enter 10, and after that I will hit the enter button. It says enter the operator. I will enter plus. I will hit the enter button, enter the second number. I will enter -10, and then I will hit the enter button and it will display the result as result equal to 0.0. Now one last thing that we're gonna see here is what if we don't use the space before this %c while taking the user input for this operator. Now what happens? I will save this program and I will run this. Okay, now it says enter the first number. I will enter the number 10 and then I will press enter key in my keyboard. Now it says enter the operator and then enter second number. I will enter, for example, 20, and if I hit the enter button, it says invalid operator. Why? Remember, after entering 10, I hit enter key in my keyboard, and that's why in the input buffer, the scanf function that we have for reading the first number will only read the number 10. So in the input buffer, the enter key will be present, and when it goes for reading the value for the operator, it will read that enter key, and that's why we get the invalid operator message that is from the default case, because this operator variable is containing the enter key that I have pressed in my keyboard, and that matches none of the case values, so default case is executed. And here, if we have a space before the %c, it will consume the new line character that is present in the input buffer, and because of that the program will work properly. Now this is it guys for this video. I want you guys to modify this program, and I want you guys to add the modulus operation to this calculator and post your code in the comment section. So this is it guys for this video. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you don't like it, hit the dislike button. If you have anything to say, write that in the comment box. For more tutorials, subscribe to the channel.